Welcome back to another episode of Inside of Her C-Suite. I'm Timothy Maurice, and we're coming to you live from Newtown. Business Results Group is hosting a conversation with leaders in South Africa with Dr. Tara Swart, author of Neuroscience for Leadership. How are you? Welcome back to the show.
I'm good. Very happy to be here, as always.
This conversation is advancing, and people are really starting to see that neuroscience and understanding how the brain works will help them lead. What are some of your findings in terms of being able to optimize brain power and lead at the highest level?
Well, I think the top line is that whereas about 20 years ago it was about, are you strategic, are you tactical? Now, the key thing that's going to give managers and leaders an advantage going forward is an understanding of the cognitive sciences. And this is everything from managing leadership stress and resilience, to understanding diversity of thinking and brain agility, to creating the conditions for success in an organization. And that means the organization that is your brain, your body, and the business that you work in, as well as innovating into the future, managing technology, things like that.
I've noticed here in this conversation that there are almost equal number of men and women. You found in your research that women and men can lead differently, but essentially at the end of the day, they have the same sort of brain capacity. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, male and female brains are way more similar than they are different. Just like 98% of men are taller than all women, but not all men are taller than all women. We have to take any gender-based studies based on that, but really in the workplace, there aren't any gender-based differences in the brain that actually make a difference to things like managing or leading.
Give us a couple simple tips. We know you got to get out of here, but give us a couple simple tips of things that people can do to boost their brain power, whether they're a man or a woman.
Yeah, okay. So resting your brain sufficiently means getting 7 to 9 hours sleep per night for 98 to 99% of people. Fueling your brain adequately means eating regularly and trying to include as many brain-boosting foods as possible. The oily fish, the avocado, eggs, nuts, seeds, things like that. A really easy one is to just keep yourself hydrated, so drinking half a litre of water for every 15 kilos of your body weight per day. That's usually 2 litres for a woman, 3 litres for a man. And then doing some form of exercise, particularly if you're in a sedentary job, but preferably kind of walking around all day or having a standing or treadmill desk. And then some sort of simplification regime to just make your morning a bit more of a routine that you can get through so that you conserve your brain power for work. And a mindfulness regime in your day. You just have to do 12 minutes. It can make a really big difference to how you regulate your emotions and suppress your biases.
Biases is a big thing, and being able to position yourself to be able to suppress them and to manage them is a big, big thing. Just talk a little bit more about positioning yourself to be able to deal with your unconscious biases.
Yeah, so the first thing you have to do is raise them from unconscious to conscious. You really need to know what your biases are so that you can compensate for them. And that might be by having a right-hand person who knows how to help you out if you might be making a decision based on a bias, or it might be just by discussing it with a team of people. But mostly you need to make sure that your own brain is rested, well-fed. I mean, always eat something before you're going to make a big decision. There are shocking statistics showing judges granting more parole after meal and break times and less parole 1.5 to 2 hours after eating. Yeah.
You travel the entire world, but you have an affinity for South Africa and working in South Africa and working with clients and so forth. What do you love about being here?
It's got to be the people. I suppose I could say the brains, but I mean, I've just got so many friends here. I think I have as many friends here as I do in London. I've never eaten alone in Joburg or Cape Town. I think, and it is a smaller community. It feels like people know each other, like even you and the other people I know each other. And so it's that sense of connection. But obviously the irony is that there's potentially a massive disconnect, but it would just take so little to make it great. That's, I think, the thing that makes me keep coming back.
So you feel hopeful for Africa in general?
Absolutely.
Good. Tara, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the opportunity to continue to converse. Your book, Neuroscience for Leadership, it's doing really well. Give us one reason why people should read this book.
Because if you understand how your brain works and you're essentially getting paid to use your brain, then you can get so much more out of it. So
we're sitting here with Priyanka Padiachi. You're a student and you're absolutely obsessed with Brainpower and understanding the brain. Firstly, welcome to Inside Her C-Suite.
Thank you so much, Tim.
So, why are you so passionate about the brain as a woman, and why did you decide to attend this event?
I think the brain for me has always been an absolute fascination to me. I think the whole dynamic nature of the brain, the way that we have power and responsibility for our own brain, where we can create new neural pathways, we can unmask dormant neural pathways to create new habits, new ways of thinking and different mindsets. I think giving someone the power of knowing that is an exceptional thing to know. It's an amazing tool to have as well. So I think as a woman, it's a very hopeful notion to have that we can actually be as powerful as men in whatever workplace we get into. Yeah.
What are some of your career goals? You hope to take your passion for the brain, your passion for really sort of understanding how to lead with higher brain power. What do you hope to do in your career in the next few years?
So I am interested in brain injury and particularly neuroplasticity. So to kind of use neuroplasticity to help brain injured people to almost have kind of like a sensory substitution and just to help redevelop their brain to help them function like a normal person. So that is where my passion lies.
And where does this passion come from? I mean, you could be anything. You could be in marketing, PR, doctor, do whatever. Why are you interested in this?
So I currently work at an NGO that we work with people with brain injuries. So I think my passion kind of was ignited from there, working with people with brain injuries hand in hand.
Okay. Looking forward to the rest of this particular event, what do you hope to learn before you leave?
I'm hoping to learn more about how I can actually do or change my own mindset to help me in the future with where I want to be in a position of power as a woman and what I can do to almost exercise my brain and to create new neural pathways.
One of the big things that have come out in this conference is the ability to change something about yourself. Is there anything you want to change about yourself?
That's a tough question. I think I'd like to change a lot, maybe to be more emotionally available, I guess. My empathy, my physicality maybe. There's a whole lot. I think it's a lifelong journey.
So we're here with Nicola Tyler and Kirsty Thompson. You guys sort of run Business Results Group. You guys have different sort of strategies. Why did you want to bring in Dr. Tara Swart?
What we've tried to do in Business Results Group is focus on hosting thought leaders and not be ahead of the trend too far, but be at least on trend. And I think our personal view is that leadership is in a state of flux. There's so much published on it, there's so much to read. But I think what we're learning through neuroscience is perhaps the missing link in leadership. And because that's one of our pillars, we believe that that's the thing to focus on going forward.
You are also an exceptional sort of speaker and facilitator as well. When you look for people to partner with, what are some of the key ingredients of what you look to partner with?
I think for us, integrity, and authenticity, and a degree of flexibility. So people who are not only passionate and expert in their fields, but have a very honest way of dealing and are flexible, because in South Africa in particular, we like to think we're a bit different and special. So the best fit are people that are willing to adapt to our environment.
Kirsty, from the work you're doing now, all the way back to your history and groundbreaking work in youth leadership, do you have a passion for seeing both youth and sort of old people mature? What is your passion in this space?
Absolutely. When we brought the businesses together, it's about 5 years ago, I mean, I've spent the last 15, 20 years working with youth and about skills development, life skills development. And Nicola and I came together in terms of the business to say, what would it look like if we had this incredible international thought leadership content that typically you would have to wait until you're a 45, 50-year-old senior executive to have access to this? What would that look like if you were 20 and you had access? How could we start to change things then? And so really that was the premise of bringing the businesses together.
One of the things I see at these conferences is that you often see more men. You've managed to have a very diverse demographic and a lot of women. How do you pull that off?
I think partly it's the topic. And I think what's wonderful about neuroscience is it's gender neutral, it's intelligence neutral. So I think it genuinely appeals to just a wide audience. So I actually think it's neuroscience, not necessarily anything else.
You guys both come off as sort of no nonsense about the bottom line and results. Are you, as an organization, you guys have advisory service, and tell us a bit more about the work you guys are doing with corporates throughout the country.
Well, we've believed very much that we don't, I mean, it speaks to the name, Business Results Group. And I think we're lucky enough in this business to be able to pick the work that we do and to make sure that that work has impact. We don't want to be involved in an intervention or into training where we feel we can't actually bring tangible results. So we're extremely passionate about being able to get into business and to be able to have those results seen at the end of the day. So it's a combination. We obviously represent international IP, and that's typically manifested in training courses with business, 2-day training courses, leadership strategy, innovation, and in the HR capability space as well.
Do you guys do mentorships? Do you bring in young people to work on your team to expose them to this type of work?
I think that's a passion of both of ours. Over the years, we've always tried to have at least 1 or 2 young people working directly with us that we're developing and maturing. The hard thing is always retaining them. But we've decided as part of our strategy to actually have every member of staff start to develop what we might call an historically disadvantaged person in South Africa. But perhaps our biggest ambition is reverse mentorship, where we're looking at taking young people into executive boardrooms. We coach them and train them on how to behave in an executive boardroom. And then we actually have young people work mentorship the other way around, sort of bridging that generational gap.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things that's come out in this seminar is the ability to get out of your comfort zone and connect with people outside of your demographic. How important has diversity been in terms of the work you guys are doing in leadership? Do you see that there are any trends in this sort of space at all?
One of our biggest interventions at the moment is actually a culture and transformation project. And we're using Liz Wiseman's Multipliers program, and coupled to that is a diversity intervention as well. So we found that the culture and transformation and leadership actually shouldn't really operate in isolation. They're one agenda. And if you can bring it into sort of one solution, 3 agendas into one solution, you actually really do begin to transform the organization. So that's a big thing for us.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to track you guys down, and we're going to have a further conversation, because I love what you guys are doing together, and your respective backgrounds, I think, really do complement each other. So thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you so much, Kirsty. We appreciate you bringing Dr. Tara Swart here. Thanks for joining us on Inside of Her C-Suite.
Thank you very much.
Join us next week as we go forward and document the stories of more amazing women on Inside of Her C-Suite across this continent.